You're listening to Scheduling Sin with me, Snowmill.
Mrs. Snow,
Mrs. Snow, I love it.
do you enjoy having your ass eaten?
Oh my God. If you could describe the perfect husband.
Here I am.
Here I am,
ladies.
baby.
You can't be like, hey, I think I want to, suck a dick. And then the next day be like, oh, it's just kidding.
Oh,
Hi, Mrs. Snow.
hello, Mr. Snow, and how are you today?
I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be back doing this.
Yeah.
We had about it was longer than that. It was like probably a 7-week break that we didn't record.
Yeah, we had we had several episodes that we had recorded kind of all at once or in a very short period of time. And we kind of did that to get through the holidays because of life and our vanilla life, right? And
Yeah.
family. And it actually worked out better that way because it was kind of a shit show of a holiday season.
Oh my gosh, was it ever? Like everybody got COVID.
Everybody got COVID.
It was just a hot mess.
And then I was sick and it got a little crazy. So I think
we're back now.
We're back.
It feels so good to be back.
Yeah.
And honestly, I really missed it.
Yeah.
Like I missed our little chats.
You missed our chats. Yeah, we've I think with everybody being sick and everything going on with just life, we almost lost some, I don't want to say we lost some connection, but we didn't have that time that we typically have.
Right.
And this, the podcast for us it's kind of I don't want to say forced because it's not forced, but it's kind of a carved out specific time for us to just.
It's intentional.
It's intentional. Yeah. To have these kinds of chats. And so I missed it as well. I missed kind of that piece.
Yeah. Well, we are back now and we have quite a bit to talk about.
Yes. Mr. Snow has a list.
I have a
because
list.
He's feeling very organized in the beginning of 2024.
Right. I'm the list member of this family.
I like lists.
Yeah. So
Like this cock, that cock, this cock. That's my list. This whole,
Uh-huh. So what's been going on in the time that we have not been recording? So
Yeah.
things have been kind of popping off. So the Discord has grown quite a bit.
Yeah, we have a good group.
A good group on the Discord. That's getting to be really fun as more and more people are coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We're really excited for that. There's been a lot of great conversations in there. And it's like continuing to grow. I mean, I feel like we're getting new people at least every few days.
Yeah.
And so that's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing singles, we're seeing females, we're seeing couples, and it's been really good.
We actually had to start thanks to
Thanks to Lee.
Lee. Thanks to Lee, we had to start a naughty memes page.
Yeah, because Lee can't contain himself.
And he never sends
posts
one. He only
like
sends like
45 memes at a time.
And they're
Admittedly,
funny.
they're all very funny.
They're all very funny. Yeah.
They're all
100%.
very funny.
But we had
it was taking over. So we had to segue that. And, but this is kind of the fun thing about it. Like I love the fact that I picture the Discord as kind of like our sort of our rowdy group of friends.
Right.
Yeah. And occasionally we have to go in there and like straighten them out.
We have to rate it in, people.
Rate it in, people.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I feel like that's a badge of honor, honestly. Like if a room is created because of you, I feel like that's kind of a cool thing.
That's going to be the news. Like now, all of a sudden, we're going to have all kinds of random people that want their own room.
I know. They want their own rooms.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We'll do it like the colleges do. Like if you just donate a bunch of money, we'll put your name on a room.
Wow. Is that how that works?
I mean, not yet, but
Okay.
it's worth a shot.
Mrs. Snow needs a Venmo.
There you go. So Discord's been great.
Yeah.
But there are other ways to reach out to us. And we are on Twitter. If you look us up on
X.
Oh yeah. We have to say X now because nobody knows what Twitter is because it's X now. But we are Scheduling Sin. So at Scheduling Sin on Twitter. So that's a great way to reach out to us. And if you're on Twitter, if you would just help us out with reposts and stuff like that to kind of help us get the word out, that would be super, super awesome. We also have email, snowmilf@yahoo.com.
Yeah.
That's a great tried and true. Email just feels like carrier pigeon at this point, doesn't it?
Wow. Well,
Like, doesn't
Twitter
it feel
has
like kind
DM.
of hammering it into a stone or something?
You like hammering things into stones, but doesn't Twitter have like a DM
Yeah.
option? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they do. You could slide into our Twitter
You can
DMs.
slide into our XDM.
Our XDMs. X does sound kind of sexy all by itself.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they changed it.
I don't think so.
Well-
It's not triple X, it's 1X. 1X is just sad by itself.
3 X's is fun.
Right.
1 X
is
is
sad.
just sort of disappointing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's fine. But yeah, you can totally send us email, Twitter. We also now have the website that's coming along.
Yeah. And I just told Mr. Snow this morning that it looks so nice. It's like he's professional. Like our lists, like we're all of a sudden professional. We're like adults. We're like adults in the podcasting world.
Yeah.
What?
Very professional-ish.
Yeah.
So it is www.schedulingsin.com.
Mm-hmm.
And on the website are, of course, all the episodes. You can reach them all there. And also, we've got some blog content coming together.
Yeah.
This has been kind of the fun thing with the website.
It's been fun. Yeah.
And like what it's allowing us to do is to bring in our listeners and bring in the community as contributors.
Right.
Right. So we kind of have a few things cooking. I know we've talked about this before, but I want to mention it again, that our community section and our content contribution is open to anybody who wants to offer content. So we're planning on, of course, the blog is out there. And if you're interested in becoming an author on the blog, let us know. We'd love to talk to you about it. Also, we're looking at doing some listener provided content for the podcast. And so what we're going to do, we're going to try it first with some bonus episodes. When people send us an interview that they did or a conversation they had, we're going to publish it as a bonus episode to this show.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of depending on how that goes, if enough people contribute and it's kind of taken off, then maybe we'll create sort of a little sub podcast for it. But that's kind of a down the road thing. But that's starting out with Scheduling Sin right now.
But it's been pretty amazing through this whole process and this evolution, and you and I have had this conversation and we kind of alluded to it in one of our previous episodes, but the sense of community has been just so fun. And when we started this whole journey, if you will, it was very much, I know I had this mentality and this, this expectation, if you will, of this is like a you and me thing. This is not a social thing. This is not a person or people community thing. We're going to go do our thing and that's it. I had no interest.
Physical.
Yeah. I had no interest at the time of really engaging with anybody else because in my mind, that was not what this was about. This was
just about sex.
It was a very physical outlet. And that has been probably the biggest, thing that we've gotten out of this and really the most rewarding, if you will, part of it is just this sense of community and people and understanding and fun. And I feel like the people on the Discord, that we've had conversations with and some of the conversations that have been happening, I just want to go have a beer with these people. Like, I just want to go hang out with them because
Absolutely.
I feel like we already have this level of connection and just like, we're already best friends. And it's so authentic.
Yeah.
It's so authentic. There's no bullshit. There's no run around. It's just, you can't be more authentic and real.
Well, and the other thing too, is it's a kind of a space where you kind of share like a secret, right? Because this isn't something you can talk about with just anybody in your life. And so it's kind of awesome to have, people in the community that you can talk to about this that understand it.
Right. And not only just like the super racy, steamy parts, but also just the reality of it.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not like the Discord is not like sex all the time.
No.
There's definitely their piece, but there are lots of conversations just about life and family and juggling, scheduling and,
and just checking in, like, how's everybody doing today? How's your day going? What you got going on?
Right.
And then people share experiences they've had. It has been so cool. I was actually just talking to Gigi about this. So Gigi is, we interviewed her in a previous episode.
A friend of the show. Yeah.
She's our official Scheduling Sin unicorn and a blog author. And I was just talking with her this morning about this very thing, in that it's amazing. So our first episode came out in April of 2023.
Okay. Yeah.
So we're not even a full year.
right. We
onto
got to do
the-
something big for the year.
I know, right? Just big podcast orgy. So the something like that. So the we started all of this really about a year ago right now.
yeah. Yes, you're right about that. Because I
Because
think
we had-
January was one of our first meetups.
Right. We had kind of messed around with going to the club a little bit and before, and we
Right.
had been kind of fantasizing about it, but we got serious about it starting in January of last year. So this, golly, if you look at what you just talked about with, we don't want to make friends, we don't
Yeah.
want to meet people, we're
Right.
not trying to mix the streams, that
Right.
kind of thing.
We want to be shady AF
Yeah, we
about
want to be
it.
shady AF, like no names, like we'll use fake name, like, you know, we're gonna wear masks. We should have just done a glory holes, but the
Live and learn, right?
right. But like this idea that we've gone from a year ago where it was truly a physical pursuit,
Yeah.
and fast forward to now
Yeah.
where we have a podcast that people actually listen to.
Right. We have followers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, we're not like famous or anything, but there are some people who are kind of hanging in with us, and we've got this Discord thing going and all this stuff. And it's amazing. Like, I can't believe starting in January of last year when we really just started, and we started doing Pornhub, which was fun.
Yeah.
That was about a year ago.
Yeah.
And
That's a long, like,
we've come a long
That's a
way
long-
in
Wow.
a year.
yeah.
We've come a long way.
Yeah. Wow.
It's honestly, it's kind of fascinating. And that actually touches on one of our listener questions. So I'm going to skip to that section now. So we have several listener questions to address.
Oh, here we go.
And this one kind of dovetails into what we're talking about now. So the question is, you've been at this for a year. How have your attitudes and boundaries changed
Oh.
in that year?
Wow, that's a big question. How have our attitudes and boundaries changed? Well, I mean, I think I spoke a little bit about the attitude part. In that, you know, when we started, it was very physical and very, I don't want to make friends. I just want to get in and fucking leave. Which I know you're pretty excited about that now that I'm looking at you. But that was very much the attitude that we had about it. But I think now that we've done it for as long as we have, which it feels like it's been forever, but it's been a year. We've learned so much more about the community aspect of it and the support aspect of it, and just the pure fun that people have. So I think our attitude very much about that has changed.
We're definitely more open to being part of the lifestyle and not just
Right.
looking for sex.
Right. And we've said this before, but it's like sex is what brought us in, but the relationships and the community is kind of what's keeping us there,
Right.
and even pulling us in more to some degree.
Oh, totally. No, absolutely. So the second half of the question, how have your boundaries
yeah.
shifted in a year?
That's a big question. I'm going to let you start with that.
Oh, okay. You're going to throw it back at me. Well, okay. So I would say, I'm going to point to like three things.
Mm-hmm.
The first is just purely watching my spouse have sex with another person.
Right.
Right. I mean, has always been a fantasy, right?
Right.
But watching that become a reality, right? So going back to our very first meetup
Right.
that we had, it was super hot. I think about it all the time. And there were some kind of whoa moments in that.
Yeah.
You know, some things about some body image stuff, some things about, you know, geez, what if, you know, she did things with him that she doesn't do with me?
Right. I think that really got in your
Um,
head about like, I even remember thinking I was a little self-conscious initially, although I seem to have got over it pretty quick during the experience, but you watching me enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and the idea of that I think was a little daunting initially.
Right. Well, and it's one of those things like when fantasy goes to reality. So like
yeah.
you have these ideas, and I think a lot of men fantasize about watching their wife have sex. But and it is super hot when it happens. But this idea that like you're going to watch your wife react in certain ways or maybe do certain things that because let's face it, like when in a married relationship, you kind of tend to have sex the same way all the time.
Well, there's a much different level of intimacy, but also complacency.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean,
Like,
you already know everything about that person. You know what they like. You know what they don't like.
Exactly.
And
So
you kinda
like
do
you
it all
kind of
the
have
time.
like your,
Yeah.
a lot of times you have like your 3 moves.
Your go-to.
You've got, your little.
I start
little-
here, I start there, and
Yeah,
then I
right.
end
Like
there.
I go to move A, and then I move on to move B, and then I finish with the closer, move C.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, close off.
Um,
Move C is just so hot.
But then, you watch in my case, you watch your wife have sex with another person, and holy shit, they're doing all kinds of new stuff.
Well, sure.
And that only makes sense because it's a different person, but it's also kind of jarring, right? But it's also kind of like, oh gosh, and walking away from that, there were a lot of insecurities and stuff that I kind of had to think through.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say for me, one of my boundaries that I have pushed and has moved for me, I think permanently, is I love to watch you have sex with a different person. And I'm really comfortable now with watching you love it.
Yeah.
I feel at this point now that it doesn't reflect on me, right? Like I don't have
Right.
that sensitivity that like, oh geez, she really loves that. And
Mm-hmm.
what does that say about me? And what does it say about us? Like, I'm just now thrilled that you're getting hammered and you love it.
If you could describe the perfect husband.
Here I am.
Here I am,
ladies.
baby. Yeah, I can relate to that on the other side of it. My initial thought, it's again, you talk about where we were starting and where we are now. I'll be honest, I was pretty selfish about it. And I was like, I have no problem with me having sex with somebody else, but I wasn't really too crazy about the idea of you engaging with another female. And
what do you think that was about? Like, what about that were you not so crazy about?
I'm a narcissist. I want it to be about me. No, I mean, for the same reasons that you described. I don't want you to enjoy it with somebody else.
Right.
Right. One of the things that you often do for me, and you've done this since day one and you continue to, we talk about my level of confidence. Well, my level of confidence, 95% comes from you.
Yeah.
Because you inflate it, right? Like you tell me how amazing I am and how good all the parts I have are. And I mean, how much you love my body and how much you love everything about me. And I think, you think about our relationship in general, like initially you're like, meh, whatever. Right. But now it's been reinforced over and over in a public setting, if you will.
Right.
And so now it really inflates my ego and it inflates my confidence. Right. And so that's part of the reason why it's weird to say, but I was way more comfortable with the idea of I can mess around with other people, but I don't want you to do that. And maybe I need to be better at inflating your ego because you are everything to me. And I'm very turned on by you. And I love your body and I love all of the parts of you. I'm not as verbal about it maybe, but I think the idea of watching you with somebody else and watching you enjoy it with somebody else, even though you've told me that I'm the best, quote unquote, do you know what I mean? Like
Sure.
that kind of messes with you. You're like, no, I'm the best. You do.
Well, you've now seen me with a couple of women.
Yeah. And it's
Did
funny.
you have any feelings at that? Of course, you were also playing simultaneously. So
Right.
that's
So
sort
the
of
idea
different.
of like, it's different in a swap situation,
yeah.
right? Because I'm a little preoccupied and I'm
Right.
not 100% watching you.
Right.
And I'm also putting on a show for you
Yeah.
more so than watching you engage with somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's kind of this.
So that's something we haven't done yet. We have not done an FFM,
Mhm.
like 2 women and me.
Right.
And we also haven't done just me and another woman where you watch.
Right.
We haven't done that yet.
Yeah. And I feel like I would be more comfortable with that now. But I think initially I was like, I don't really know how I feel about that.
Do you think initially you would have felt some of the same things that I did? And like, well,
Yeah.
if I was really enjoying her, would that be upsetting for you?
Absolutely. Do you enjoy her more than you enjoy me?
Yeah.
Like, does she feel better than me?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
she able
well,
to?
especially if she does something different than you.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. So, I mean, I feel the same way on the other side.
Yeah.
Although I will say, I feel like sometimes I surprise myself when I'm like, did you do this? Did you enjoy it? Like, good on you. You know,
that's true though, because
I've kind of been like, go for it. You know,
have surprised me a couple of times with that,
yeah.
where
Maybe you're self-conscious about it, but I'm like, go.
right, where
Yeah.
like, well, and that's the thing. So it is funny about that because I feel really confident in how I feel about you interacting with other men. Like, I know exactly where my comfort levels are with that.
Right.
I know that I'm comfortable with you interacting with men without me there.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm comfortable with you interacting with men like online.
Mm-hmm.
I know all of that. In fact, I'm sure of that in myself.
Sure.
Right.
But also, I think that speaks to our relationship too.
It does. It does.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we're very secure. Like, I don't think either one of us look at this as a threat.
No. And that's
Yeah.
just it. Like, my boundary with that is I'm completely comfortable with you engaging with men in a sexual sense.
Yeah.
I am completely uncomfortable with you engaging with other men in any kind of a romantic or a relationship kind of sense. Like, I know exactly where that line is for me.
Sure.
But what I don't know is exactly where that line is for you.
Right.
And one of the things that has happened that I didn't expect, but is part of this lifestyle, is you start to develop friendships with members of the opposite sex. And especially in these like chat situations, right? Be it Discord or Telegram or one of the other things, we ran into this earlier this year, or I should say last year, I guess, where the conversation that I was having with this person was both sexual and non-sexual.
Right. It was very flirty, but kind of building a relationship, right?
Kind of building a relationship.
Yeah.
And I there was a moment where I started to feel like, oh shit, I'm kind of enjoying this.
Right.
And I felt like I need to pump the brakes.
Right.
Because I don't know if I'm out of bounds or not.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting thing with the lifestyle. Like, it's totally one thing to know, like, it's perfectly okay if we have sex this way or that way, or this way or that way, or, you know, whatever. But this lifestyle develops relationships.
Right.
And those relationships can sometimes get a little gray.
Well, but you develop sort of feelings.
A little bit. Like,
I mean, and feelings, I feel like is a pretty broad term, right? I mean, like,
yeah, like I was not looking for, and I know this person was not either, was not looking for a romantic relationship.
right.
That was not there. And I knew that. But I also started to ask myself, because I was having this conversation electronically, like via chat, right?
Yeah.
And it was not a group chat. Like, you were not part of that group chat,
Yeah.
which ordinarily is not a problem. But there was this moment where I kind of felt like, I need to check and see if this is okay.
Yeah.
And I talked
You
to you
did.
about it. And this is where this comes full circle now. I talked to you about it, and I was telling you this like a nervous 13-year-old.
I know, he was so sheepish about it.
And your reaction was unbelievable. You were just like, so have you sexted with her yet?
How many dick pics have you sent? And I was teasing you. I was like, how's your girlfriend doing today?
But that I think is a perfect example, though, of where that boundary has slid to. Right?
Absolutely.
Because I think what's really important in all that is you know that I'm going to be open and honest with you.
Right.
You
I
know
think that's
that
what,
I'm gonna tell you if I think I might be out of bounds.
But I think it's also you and I in general in our relationship, we are very transparent with each other.
Yeah.
We are very open to having uncomfortable conversations
Right.
as well as, comfortable conversations. But we also don't have secrets. Like,
No.
you are never like, you can't look at my phone, or you can't look at and you were, even in this specific situation, but also I think in general. And I have also, I have the same kind of policy, if you will. Like, you can look at any conversation I've had with anybody,
Right.
anytime.
Absolutely.
There's never any question
Absolutely.
about that. And I think the minute that that's not like, you're not okay with me knowing the conversation you're having, or vice versa, that I feel like is where you have to kind of say, whoa, this is maybe not okay.
what I should be
Right.
doing.
But you and I just have that relationship.
Well,
And I
right.
think in kind of coming full circle in that, having this conversation for the purpose of people who are entering this lifestyle or entering this whole experience, like, if you don't have that level of security, I mean, just be aware that it could be a bumpy road. Like, you need to work through some of that and be open and honest about where you're at and how you feel and how your partner feels.
Right. Well, and exactly. I mean, they say that if your relationship has any cracks, swinging will find it.
Oh, 100%.
And I totally get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole nother layer of vulnerability.
It is.
It's a whole
It
nother
is.
layer of vulnerability.
And it completely depends on trust.
Yes.
The only way that you can be that vulnerable is
Right.
with trust.
Right.
It's the only way.
Right. And I think you and I have, and I know we've said this, like, I thought we had a very open, loving relationship before we even entered this. And we did, but I didn't realize how much further and deeper it could get.
You know what all this kind of digs into is it digs into like the stuff you don't say.
Yeah.
Everybody has all these sexual fantasies, ideas, emotions, and so on and so forth. Everybody has all this stuff. But for the most part, most people hide that stuff even from themselves. They don't want to talk about it. It doesn't come up. They don't ask about it. I don't want to know what weird shit you might be into.
Well, there's a shame factor.
I don't want to know what you think about in the middle of the night. Like,
right.
This kind of chips away at that a little bit, and it kind of opens some of those doors. For example, one of the big ones this year was my bisexuality part. That's a huge boundary that got shifted this year.
Absolutely. And I think, even, and it's hard for me to even kind of wrap my brain around, as close as we are and as much as we have shared together, you had expressed to me, I was nervous to share this with you.
Yeah.
And I look back at that and I'm like, I don't think that was really a reflection of me or us per se, maybe somewhat, but I think it really is that internal piece.
Well, it's two things, right? I mean, it's, for one thing, it is still the whole male bisexuality piece is something that is kind of taboo.
Yeah.
Even in the lifestyle where we, all we talk about, being so welcoming and so open and so accepting and this and that. Well, I mean, yeah, but right. There's some buts to that. Yeah. And that's definitely one of those. And even out, I mean, and that's within the lifestyle. Outside the lifestyle, it's a wildly different animal.
Yeah.
And so you have that stigma built up about it. But the other part of it is, and I think this is where a lot of people struggle with this particular subject, is the risk, right? It's not, when you say, I don't think it was about me, it is about you in the sense that I don't want to risk screwing things up with you.
Right, but I don't want to risk this person not looking at me the same way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Because it's one of those, you can't unring the bell.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you can't be like, hey, I think I want to, suck a dick. And then the next day be like, I was just kidding. I totally don't want to do that. Nope. I just want to go wrench on something. I mean,
whatever you got to call it, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't unring that bell. So that is definitely one of those. And that episode. So by the way, that episode has gotten a tremendous amount of feedback.
It has.
Probably more so than almost any of them.
Yeah.
And that's been really, really pretty cool.
Well, and I hope it's validating for you and reassuring for you. Because I think it's important that, everybody has their own journey in this. And I think, in engaging in this lifestyle and engaging in this naughty hobby and kind of figuring out who you are and who you are as a couple and your dynamics, like I think a big part of it, and I think this kind of comes to why we do this podcast, is surrounding yourself with people that you can have those open conversations with.
Right.
And I think that's where that community piece comes in that I didn't realize at the beginning how important that was, because all the shit comes up for you, all these things and thoughts. And if you don't really have anybody to talk to about it, or at least kind of like be open to have those conversations and be vulnerable in a different way, like it stifles the experience and it can stifle the evolution of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So, okay. So the next question, and this kind of dovetails some of the last one. So is there anything that you have overcome? In other words, are there any limitations, or are there any stigmas, or are there any self-doubts or whatever that you feel like you've overcome?
I would say, and again, you don't know what you don't know, but like I'm super open to all sexuality and all the things, right? And then you go into this and you're like, oh. Like
yeah, but not that.
But I mean, it really kind of challenges that, but it really opens up there's so much more to sexuality and people's sexual behaviors and desires and fantasies that I didn't know really existed. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know. So I think overcoming, I don't know if overcoming is the word, but just opening up and exploring, like this whole world that I didn't really know existed.
Yeah, kind of allowing yourself to have your eyes opened a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, I kind of feel the same way. I don't, aside from like, I guess if I had to say I've overcome something, I would say to some extent it's my inhibitions, if you will, about my bi side. But other than that, I wouldn't say that I've overcome anything necessarily. But to your point about exploring the spectrum of sexuality, I would definitely say we're far more advanced today than we were a year ago in that.
Right.
And if I've learned anything, it's that your biggest sex organ is your mind.
Right.
It's this idea that, everything from sensory play to BDSM to FET to all these different things, it's all in your mind.
It's very much in your mind. It's very much engaging that. What does it feel like to not have control of something? What does it feel like to be in control? I mean, like all of those pieces. The other thing that I would say that I've quote unquote overcome, and I kind of giggle when I say this, but like, my body image issues.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there was a period of time where, forever ago now, I would look at videos or pictures that you had taken and I'd be like, ugh, that's not hot. And now I post naughty pictures all the time.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? And I don't
There's
think
some good
about
ones on Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, well, on
Or
X.
X.
Yeah. This is the lone X.
They're on X.
Yeah. Obviously Mr. Snow has taken way more pictures of me than I have, but nevertheless, I am so much more open and overcoming posting pictures that I would have a year ago been like, I would never put that out there.
Well, I think it's a combination of things, right? I mean, it's
embracing the fact that I am not skinny. I have curves. I have fat. I have cellulite. I have things that I, in a normal circumstance, would be like, I don't want to show that off. And now I'm just like, hey, look at this. And everyone's like, it's so gorgeous and so hot and we love it.
Well, that's just it. I mean, no body type is everybody's body type.
Right.
It's just not.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact of the matter is, you're not for everybody.
Right.
And neither is Cindy Crawford or anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the really cool affirming things has been that you are learning that a lot of people are very attracted to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's true of so many women. And I totally understand why women have body issues, because from the time you are born, I feel like you're crammed into all these different identity boxes.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, you are very well liked by a lot of people. But what's interesting about this, and so this kind of attaches to something we have upcoming here soon. We're going to do a boudoir photography deal.
Yeah.
On Friday. And we'll talk more about that in just a second, but hold on. Where I want to go with this is, I think with women, we've done a lot to empower women and make them feel better about their body image issues,
mm-hmm.
especially in the lifestyle. As a male, though, I've got body issues too. I mean, almost the same as you, but I don't have anywhere near the affirmation that you do.
Yeah.
And so I think for men, we're actually very far behind in that.
But I don't know if you put yourself out there the same way that I have put myself out there. I think if you posted pictures of you, and some of the pictures you have posted have very much gotten affirming responses.
That's true. I think women and men consume those types of content differently, though.
Yeah.
I think men are much more like, yeah, show me more. And women are like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. That's kind of my perception.
Right. But I don't think that's 100% accurate.
Well, maybe it's not. Okay. So
we're just going to pass by that. Okay, fine.
2 completely silly listener questions.
Okay.
One of them's not so silly. Mrs. Snow. Do you prefer playing with partners when they wear a condom or when they do not?
I mean, I think that's more of a mental thing than anything because I don't necessarily feel the difference, like physically.
Right.
So you know what I mean. So for that case, I don't know if I really care. I mean, I think cum is really hot, so part of me kind of likes the idea of a man coming in me. And I Mr. Snow's face is just. This is why sometimes I wish we had a video because I think that's the giddy smile that he has. I find that really hot. So that mental part and I know the visual part that Mr. Snow loves to see come dripping out of me is pretty hot.
Yeah.
So
that's very true.
So I don't know if I mean, so for the mental part and the visual part for Mr. Snow, I would, it doesn't, but as far as like the physical, like what feels good or not, I don't know if I care.
Yeah.
That, and I personally love the idea, and I love, this is going to sound very controlly, but like I love the fact that I can make a man come. Like that's hot to me.
That is super hot.
I love knowing that. I just love knowing that I can do that. I mean, like I can, I guess, but my pussy can't.
So definitely for lifestyle play. I mean, you pretty much have to wear condoms. Like you pretty much have to.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a partner that you've like really vetted out.
Well, right. But then there's also like just, you know, and this is something that I don't think is talked a lot about in general. And maybe we can talk about that, you know, in a future episode, but like the idea of getting tested and the safety around all the things. And,
exactly.
And I mean, Mr. Snow had a vasectomy, so, and I'm not on any birth control. And so that's a piece of it as well.
Oh, a huge piece of it for sure.
And so we have played with other people without condoms. We've obviously played with people with condoms, but it's people that we know and trust and that are obviously have had a vasectomy. Right.
That's very, I think the people that we would definitely never recommend that people do lifestyle play without condoms.
Yeah.
In the cases that we have been people that we know very well.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a balance to that, but
yeah.
Okay. So here's the silly question that you're going to get that I'm going to get an eye roll for, but I'm going to ask you anyway, because it was asked on Twitter and I already told the person I would ask you. Mrs. Snow.
Mrs. Snow. I love it.
Do you enjoy having your ass eaten?
Oh my God.
I'm just asking the question.
Oh, right. You're just the messenger.
I'm purely the messenger. I have no guilt or innocence in this at all. I'm like Switzerland.
Yep. No.
Switzer dick.
Yeah. That's not, no, never. Do I enjoy having my asshole eaten? I mean, that's the question. He's like waiting with the bated breath. What is she going to say? I don't really have any I love it, I don't like it kind of feelings about it. I'm pretty neutral towards it, to be honest.
Well,
what I like about it is how much I know it turns you on.
Yeah.
But again, fantasy versus reality, right? Like the idea of someone going down there and doing that is a little but me personally, I don't really like being going down on. Like I like it, but I don't really. You're
not really comfortable with it.
I'm not very comfortable with anybody just doing that because I am very self-conscious about my body and just all of the parts that go along with that.
Well, and like all the am I clean? Am I
Yeah, I mean it's
this
like
kind of thing.
I'm very self-conscious about like smell and all of these things.
It's very much like a hygiene sense.
It's a very intimate personal area.
Oh yeah, for
right?
Sure.
Your asshole is even more so.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not a random let's do that on a Tuesday, right?
No.
There's kind of has to be some prep work, if you will, to it. And to make me feel comfortable. Prep work, that sounds so bad. But you know what? Listen, you know what I mean.
Oh God. I think listener questions have to be part of this.
So whatever. Fuck you.
Prep work.
Such an asshole.
Oh God.
Am I wrong?
No.
Why are you laughing at me?
I don't know why.
But I think it's not something that I'm just going to be comfortable doing.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of things that I do. It's not always really about me. I just know how much you love it.
Well, yeah.
And there are things that I do that I'm like, whatever about, but I enjoy it because I know you enjoy it and I know it gets you very excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the kind of wife I am.
You're professional. Okay. So, moving on.
Well, wait a minute. What about you, Mr. Snow?
I love it. Hands down, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love doing it or love receiving it?
Both.
Both.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So goals for 2024. I have specific goals and they involve numbers.
Wow. That's special. So how many goals do you have listed there?
I have 4.
4. Wow. Okay. Do you want to start? Because you seem very, very excited about sharing these.
No, I want to hear yours.
I don't really have a list because I obviously am not prepared. So, I think one of the things in this lifestyle, if you will, that I'm wanting to experience or wanting to kind of just get more into is, and we've talked a little bit about this, and this I feel like can be its own its own topic on the show, is this empowerment to say no.
Yeah.
It's the ability to be in a situation and say, nah, it's not really where I'm at.
Right.
I think what I have experienced, I mean, and part of this is just me and my personality. I am very, what did you say? I'm either all on or all off.
There's no throttle at all.
There's no throttle at all, as Mr. Snow likes to say. And oftentimes I get in sexual situations or we're at the club or we're involved and if I really stop and think about it, I really may not want to engage, but I do because I kind of just feel obligated to some degree. Or I feel like we're here. I've kind of started this. I can't not start or I can't not finish.
Yeah.
And the power in saying, this is as far as I want to go. I'm not really feeling this. I have not really done. Now, please don't get me wrong. I've never done things I don't want to do.
Right.
I don't, I've never been pressured to do things or.
Right. And that's an important distinction.
Yeah. Like I've never regretted anything that I've done, but I may not have been really in the place or mood to do it. And I've kind of gone along with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate to that too. I think, if you go back to a year ago when we first started doing things, there was this excited sense of urgency. There was an excited sense of like, oh my God, we're here.
We're here. And it took us fucking forever to schedule it and get here. So we're going to make the most of it. We're going to fucking do it.
Yeah. No, I know. And and in the beginning, I feel like there was definitely some of that just because you were so excited to experience it and you wanted to do it. And it's not like we are not in a position where we can go down to our just local Cheers Swingers Club every Friday night and say hi.
That's not how it rolls for us.
It's kind of like, even still, it's kind of something like we have to really kind of work at.
We have to do prep work for it.
We have to do prep work for it. Damn it.
But, it goes to the whole title of the show, scheduling, right? I mean,
does.
It's initially it was like we would schedule something and it would be like a month out.
Oh.
And then we would get in our heads, and I know I would get in my head, well, I don't know how I'm going to feel on that Thursday. I may really not be horny that Thursday.
Right.
But God, we're going to go and we're going to do that. And so that also kind of played into this kind of feeling obligated to engage in something.
Right. Right.
Even if I wasn't, again, I didn't regret it. It wasn't like a bad situation, but it was like, almost like, well, we're here now. I guess we should do this. And
right.
When am I going to have the chance to do this again?
Exactly.
So.
Oh my gosh. Exactly. Those feelings are they're a problem. And we've done that a few times where we've had experiences that we were kind of like, meh, we're here though.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is some of them have gone great.
Yeah.
And fine.
Yeah.
And some of them, they're a little rocky.
Yeah.
And, I agree with you. I think everybody always says, go to the club.
Yeah.
And you can expand this to almost any lifestyle situation.
Right.
Go with no expectations.
Right.
And that is really good advice.
Really
That is
hard to do.
Super hard to take,
Yeah.
especially when getting into these situations was a lot of work and is not available on a regular basis.
Right.
If you're going every single week, sure. Yeah. You could decide.
Well, it's
I
easier
don't feel like
to
it
do
tonight.
that.
I'll do it next week.
Right.
If it's a difference of like, oh, well, maybe 6 months from now we can try this again.
Right.
Oh,
And the entire time between that experience and the next time you're able to do it, you're like almost kicking yourself that you didn't.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's like it is truly, genuinely very good advice.
Yeah.
This idea that you would go with no expectations.
Right.
And it's exactly what you should endeavor to do.
Yeah.
But if you, dear listener, find it difficult, just understand that the rest of us do too.
Yeah. I mean, but I will say, because I feel like because we've had all the experiences that we've had this past year, I feel more comfortable now accepting that as
Yes.
as an actual, like, okay, we can go into this situation with no expectations, and I'm more okay with it.
Well, you know what?
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I feel the same way. And I think for us, to a certain extent, we have developed a pace with this,
Yeah.
right? Like we have kind of started getting into a groove to where like we have these types of experiences on I'm going to call it a semi-regular basis. Like
Well, we have a lot of outlets.
we do.
I mean, and we have a lot of outlets, and I think part of it is we have the Discord, and we have this podcast,
Right.
and we have. So, I mean, I think that helps. Like, if we didn't have that, it was literally just the random trip to the club. I think there's more build up.
All your eggs in one basket
Yeah.
kind of feeling. Yeah. No, I agree with that. So
So start a podcast.
start a podcast. That's what you should do. I'm here to tell you it's a lot of work. So that my goals are more.
Well, I'm not done with my goals.
Oh, you're not. What else have you got?
Actually, that was it. I think that's the main one. But
Okay. So here are mine. My goals are
number one.
I want to go to 2 hotel takeovers in 2024.
Yeah.
That's my goals. 2 of
Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And we now have, by virtue of all the silliness that we have engaged in, we have all kinds of cool swinger shit.
We do. We have our own little box.
Oh yeah, it looks like a nuclear football, and we have like all kinds of decorations and stuff. Like we are all set to host a hotel
I got
room
my,
and a swinger party.
My metal pineapple straw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've got like an LED sign now for the show and all
Yeah.
kinds of things. So like,
I was at Target yesterday, and I should have picked it up. It was like a pineapple bubble machine.
oh yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool. So 2 hotel parties. That's on my like hotel takeovers. That's on my list. Here's a more ambitious one.
Yeah.
I would like to make a goal of doing 1 meet and greet per month.
Yeah, I think that is ambitious. One a month is tough.
You know, it feels like it shouldn't be, right? There's
Have you met us
365
in
days
our
a year. We're
lives?
trying to do 12 of them.
That's a lot.
12 out of 365?
Yeah.
It doesn't
Well, but-
seem like a lot.
But says
like-
the person
It's like
who,
less
like,
than 5% of the days.
okay, math man. I'm just saying, like, it's the reality of it. Yes, on paper, this is like a perfect example of what is on paper and what is in reality, right? It's not the same. Like, because there's so much more involved with the actually scheduling a day where you and I have child coverage, the energy to do it, the availability to do it. I mean, it's, I don't want to shit on your goals.
But you totally do.
I totally do. I think that's
why it's a
ambitious.
goal. I think it maybe we'll miss a month or 2, but I think it's something we can try.
How are you tracking these goals? Do you have
Because-
like a little treatment plan over there?
Do I have it? No, I don't. My next one is to continue to explore my buy side.
Okay. And what does that look like?
That looks like inviting our friend back over.
Ooh.
And the last one I have is to explore sensory play
Yeah.
with Mrs. Snow.
Yeah. You're pretty excited about this, aren't you?
I am. I think it's really, really fascinating. And I think for you, it's going to be particularly exciting because you're so impatient.
Yeah. It's going to force me to be patient.
I think it's going to really push you
yeah.
in a good way.
Yeah. Okay. I I will sign off on your goals.
Okay. So those are our goals. Now, for the very last thing, we have a very busy Friday coming up.
Oh man, do we ever talk about scheduling? Like we're
This is scheduled to the 9s.
Yeah. So Mr. Snow, I don't know, where did you find this person?
I met this person through Telegram.
Okay.
Interestingly, so she is I met her through okay, let me back up. The last hotel takeover we did has a Telegram chat associated to it. Okay. And they do this, like this particular group, it's Play Champagne. They put together a Telegram chat specifically for each event that they do. And it's really cool because people can kind of jump in there and kind of meet people and talk a little bit and kind of
make some connections before you just show up to a random hotel.
It's really good for that. Well, this group is a bisexual, I think it's called like a bisexual chat or something like that. But it really, again, this is sort of like unspoken, but it's really a bisexual male chat because bisexual female is considered basically standard.
Right.
So this chat is really for couples where both partners are bisexual.
Okay. And
I got invited into this group by someone who was in that Telegram chat. And so I've kind of met this woman through that group. She is a boudoir photographer.
Well, she's a photographer. I think she does more than just boudoir shoots.
Oh, yeah. She does all kinds of stuff, but including boudoir.
Yeah.
And she's a lifestyler. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Snow and this woman have had a hell of a lot of conversations about posing and what he wants, because he's all about my photo. Like he wants to photograph me and he wants like all these poses, and he's like going online and Pinterest and all the places to find like fatty boudoir photos that are hot. And so like he's pretty excited.
Well,
like he looks like a schoolgirl right now, pretty stoked.
I am excited. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's really exciting to find a boudoir photographer who A, is in the lifestyle.
Sure.
And understands all of this.
Right.
And B, is not freaked out by like nudity and sex and all these things.
Right.
Very
sensual.
Most boudoir photographers, in our experience, admittedly, it's pretty limited, are only comfortable with up to sort of implied nudity. And that's as far as they're willing to go, which I can respect that. I mean, that's fine. Everybody has their limits, right? But it's exciting to find a photographer who is in this style, who's comfortable going further than that.
Right. There's kind of this line of, I'm going to say risque. Yeah, no, I agree. Like there's more of this implied, like, yeah. Like so, you might actually get a picture of my nipple, right? Like, or my butt. Yeah, or more.
Or more.
But I think I have done a boudoir shoot before where I was topless, but it was very...
But everything was covered though.
Everything was covered, and I wouldn't be self-conscious showing those pictures really to anybody, because there's nothing really, it's all implied nudity versus...
Right. Yeah. In fact, a couple of your topless ones are like attached to our bar.
No, I don't think the topless ones are.
Are you sure?
I'm positive the topless ones aren't. But the ones that are kind of sexier, but I'm fully clothed, are on the bar.
Well, and those get a lot of comments, by the way. But so I'm excited for that. So we're going to go down to meet her, and we're going to do a photo shoot with her.
Right. And
against my better judgment, I have sort of loosely agreed to be in some of these photos.
I'm excited about that. I think you will be. It's going to be super hot to have both of us in the photos, and I have a couple ideas in my head of that.
Well, and she is super pumped about getting me into it also. So,
and we also went and bought big couple yards of bright red fabric.
Oh yeah. We're gonna do it up with the props.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. Then we're going to do a podcast interview with her. So that's going to be our next episode.
Yeah.
Is an interview with her about boudoir photography and about her experience in the lifestyle and her husband's bisexuality and their journey and all that. So, and she is a super interesting person. So I'm really excited to do that on Friday. And then we are going to a swingers club
Right.
with Alex and Joe.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have that to chat about.
Mm-hmm.
And then on Saturday, we're just going to like crawl home
Right.
and try to sleep.
With our 2 children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine. It's going to be just fine. What could go wrong?
Right. Okay. We have another couple. I know we talked a little about this before, but we're starting to prepare for our overseas trip.
Oh yeah, that's coming together quickly too.
Oh my gosh, we are so excited about that. We have that's going to be in mid-February.
Yep.
And I have no doubt that we will have probably a couple episodes that branch off from that. I think we're going to record while we're there. We'll absolutely record kind of a debrief, if you will, afterwards. So yeah, we're excited. We're going to get together with some of our fun friends that we've met on the Discord and through V2V. We're going to have dinner, and I think we're just going to laugh. We're just going to laugh until we cry and our guts hurt. Like, it's going to be so much fun.
I think so. I'm so excited because we have, through our relationship with the Vanilla to Vixen podcast,
Mm-hmm.
we have developed a lot of friendships
Mm-hmm.
with people in the UK.
Yeah.
And we know them mostly through Discord.
Yeah.
You all have met some of them
Yeah.
with Tina Von Teese and Gigi
And Gav.
and Gav. And of course, Mr. and Mrs. N from Vanilla to
Right.
Vixen.
And then I think Mr. and Mrs. Foxy, but I think she has posted in our content, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Like
she's one of our blog authors.
Yeah. So, and I think what's so cool is we have these relationships with these people. We feel very close to them, but we've never met them. So I think
Which is ironic because that's exactly how we met.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of hugs. I think there's going to be a lot of laughs.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And maybe more than that.
But no expectations.
But no expectations. Right. We're going to go to Europe with no expectations.
Right.
Sure.
For a short period of
right.
time.
Absolutely.
I think Mr. Snow is we talk about sensory play as your goal. I think you want me to get up on that cross.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. So,
Yeah.
by the way, there is in the studio that we're going to be in on Friday, there is one of those.
Oh, I didn't know that. So there'll be some photos there, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So that's on the list. I'm so excited. And by the way, if you are in the UK and you are a listener of the show, we are planning on, well, this is all tentative for right now, but on Friday night,
Yeah.
which I don't remember the date.
It's the 9th of
It
February.
actually is the 9th. So on Friday night, February 9th, we're going to be at the Secret Hotel
The Secret Hotel.
to Liberty Elite.
Yeah.
And we're going to do kind of like a social get together. We're all going to go out for dinner and stuff. But then after that, we're going to just get together and hang.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are in the UK and you'd like to join us for that, let us know
Mm-hmm.
and we can kind of help you get coordinated with the details.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there'll be a podcast episode of that.
Oh, there's going to be, I mean, episodes for days.
It's going to be it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. So anyway, that is all that we have going on.
Mhm.
We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Please keep your listener questions coming.
Absolutely. Please keep asking me about, things that I like and don't like.
Right, exactly, because it makes her very comfortable. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah. We're so excited to be coming up on our year anniversary and build this life and community, and so much fun. So absolutely. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to, give us a shout, send us your questions, but also, maybe do a rating or do a review.
We'd love that. That would actually be so helpful.
Can you do reviews on X, or do you have to do it on like Spotify?
Well, I think so. On
I don't know how this
Spotify, they
works.
pretty much just do the stars. I
Okay.
think. I think you can actually leave feedback on episodes,
Okay.
but on Apple Podcasts, you can leave narrative reviews,
Okay,
and that
yeah.
would be really, really helpful.
Yeah, super fun. So, Yeah.
Okay.
all right. We'll
See you next time.
Bye. We want to hear from you. Email us at snowmilf@yahoo.com. That's SNOMILF@yahoo.com. You can also join us on our Discord and have some fun interactive conversations with us. The link is in the show notes. Talk to you soon. You want to turn me on, baby? You want to turn me way, way on?
Yeah.
Like hardcore? Do the dishes. Fold the laundry.
Fold that laundry, you bitch.
Take your shit out of the dryer.
You know, I still laugh at that time that like you called me or texted me or whatever. And you're like, hey,
No, I called
thank you for putting my shit in the dryer. I'm like, yeah, bitch, I'm the best.
That's right. I listened to what you
like,
say.
Yeah. And you're like, next time you got to start it. I'm like, oh, fuck. Fuck. So close.
So close.
Not getting laid today.
So instead of it, getting musty in the washer, it's just getting musty in the dryer,
Yeah.
Change of venue. That's cool.